Are you ready to be fired up? Because I sure am. I have my dear friend Randy Garn here. Actually, we just met quite recently, and I feel like I know him for years and years, even though it's only been a few months. And I can honestly say I consider him a friend. So Randy is a New York Times best-selling real author, not the kind you pay for. He went to Harvard, right, Randy?
I did.
Harvard. He's like a super brainiac. And he is going to talk to you today about ways to be successful and about relationships and a lot of other things. So I hope you are just as ready to be fired up. Welcome, Randy.
My gosh, Krista, how fun is it to be with you again? We had so much fun together.
I
I
know.
loved
We
it.
were just at Tony Robbins, Team Graziasi event. Randy was a guest and he was there making friends with everybody. So let's talk about that. 'Cause I know this is a little bit about what you want to talk about today. So just go for it because I'm all ears. I love listening from
Well,
you. Listen.
one of the things that I wanted to share with the group, there's a couple things that I really specialize in. And what I really specialize in is building deep, meaningful relationships. And I mean, you saw it, and it is some things that there are some ways to do it because there's too many times in our lives. Everybody that I know is way too transactional,
No.
and you're not. And that's why I love you. You're so freaking awesome. I swear, when God made Krista Mashore, he put like a couple of extra drops of goodness in the batch because you are so full of life and you're so full of love and you love everyone. And that's why you attract so many people to what you do and how you are. And I just want to hang out with you all the time. It was the best ever.
That's so nice. I love that. That's a nice compliment. I
Yeah.
appreciate
So, but I'm just telling you, you have one of the skill sets that it makes, really takes to build deep, meaningful relationships, and you have tremendous, amazing energy.
That's my favorite compliment is energy. I love that one. So talk to me about I think it's really important too with the crowd that I have on this podcast is talking about how important and people are so transactional and I think when people are thinking about like what's in it for me, it's like they don't ever get what they're wanting out of it because they're so worried about what's in it for them. And I think that people are missing that a lot today, you know?
I think, and I teach a lot of what's called the VOR. It's VOR. What is the velocity of relationship? You know,
Mhm.
if will people pick up the phone when you call? If you needed to call somebody at 3 o'clock in the morning, would they answer? I don't like to just like snorkel with relationships, but I like to scuba dive with them, right?
Yeah.
And
Explain.
so as you think about that, I always say this, like if they like you, they'll listen to you. If they trust you, they'll buy from you. But if they have an experience with you, they'll never leave you.
Mm.
But if you transform, this is the fourth level. It's an important one because everybody kind of stops at experience. A lot of people just stop at trust. But I'm going like, I did my whole research, everything I've ever done all my life is all about transformation economy. So, but the fourth level is if you transform and change their life, then they will shout your name from the rooftop.
So
And
true.
that's where you get to the point where my dad always said, he's like, Randy, it doesn't matter who you know, it's who knows you and what they think about you and what they say about you in rooms that you're not in.
That is so true. I always say that all the time. It doesn't matter. Like it's important who you know, but what's even more important is who knows you and what they're talking about you when you're not around. Like so true. And I love that you say that because it's very so so valid. And I will tell you what. I mean, Randy is so good at developing relationships. It's almost uncomfortable. Like he's so nice. Where I'm like, is this real? Like, I mean, you're not used to somebody being so nice and warm and inviting, almost to the point where I'm like, it can be a little uncomfortable because you're not used to it from people. You know what I'm saying?
Yeah, because it's like most people, they want to know. No, I'm getting a little emotional. I'm actually choking a little bit. People want to know. Everybody always comes up with, whenever you meet somebody for the first time, you're like, what can I get from them? What can I get from them? The reason, Krista, why I am that way is because I don't need anything from anybody. I
Yeah.
don't. It's like, my dad, when I left for college, he told me a couple things that were really important. And my dad was a high school football coach. And my idol, he's so awesome. He's the man, the myth, the legend. And when I was leaving for college, I remember coming down the stairs from my bedroom. I'm coming down the shaggy stairs in my room, and my dad's waiting at the bottom of the stairs. And he grabs my face. And he's like, Randy, I want you to remember two things. I want you to learn this, is that people are always more important than things. He's like, at the end of your day, it will be your relationships, not the cars and the homes and everything else that you have. It'll be the relationships that drive the most joy. Number two, learn this. Learn to do as much as you can for as many people as you can, as often as you can, and expect nothing in return. You know what's awesome is that I don't have any expectations from anybody. If I do something freaking awesome for people and I, get them into an event or I help them make $1 million or whatever, if they do something back for me, then it's amazing and it's awesome. And you know what I found? The real people always do. But I've trained myself, honestly, I don't worry about it anymore. I'm so blessed. Like I have so much opportunity because of the depth of relationships I have. I don't have any needs anymore. And that law of reciprocity is so true, Krista. It's so true, but it takes a little bit to prime the pump and to build those relationships. But once you get into that flow, my gosh, so many things happen. So many great things happen.
It's so true. And I watched you do it. I watched you. I'll give you an example. So I was just at this event, and it was with these very successful people like Tony Robbins, Dean Graziosi, and here comes Randy, gets invited. Now, mind you, everyone in that room, we had to sell our souls to be in the room. Like we had to sell our souls to win this launch. Here comes Randy, and he just gets invited for free to show up to this event. And it's because of exactly what he just said. He helps people and does things for people. And so he got invited as a guest to this event. And while he was there, he was making friends with everybody and just loving on everybody and just being Randy. It was so cool to watch because I watched you do exactly what you say. And I love when people they live their talk. You live your talk, and it's so cool to see you do it. And like I said, I don't want any more friends. I've got too many friends. But like I want this friend. It's so cool.
Well, and it is important too, is to actually know who your true friends are. And so what was fun was, when you and I were talking, we were talking about the private club we're putting together, and then helping out a guy that we both mutually know, and I'm like, hey, do you know Brent Gove? And it's just like, dude, we jump on, like, it's like, those are the things that really make life super fun. When those people that love, like, and respect, you get to do business with. And
Yeah.
so I think that's the other thing. When I sold my first company, a really good mentor said, hey, Randy, take a little bit of a break and find out who your top 25 relationships are. He said, and this is a good exercise for everybody listening. This changed my life. And so I'm going to share it with you. This is one of the things that I do. On my phone, I have my top 25 in my favorites. So who are your top 25 people? Like, who are you really doing life with?
Ooh, I love it.
And so he said, Randy, take a minute, write down the top 25 people that you don't currently know or that you want to know and that you want to start doing business with. And he said, just take a couple months and do that. So I wrote down 25 people that I loved the way they do business. I love their business models. And so I wrote those 25 people down, and he said, then go do something for them. Go serve them. Go build a relationship with them. So Krista, I took the next couple months and I reached out to all 25 people. I wrote them handwritten notes. I took them to a Yankees game. I went and did things that, I just wanted to get to know them. Guess what? Out of those 25 people, guess what I found out? Like, I only wanted to maybe work and do stuff with about 14 of them.
Well, that's not horrible odds.
Yeah. No, but it was important to know, And now they're like my best friends in the whole world. Like Dean's one of them, It's just like when you find out, like, then all of a sudden you find out who's real, and then you find out like who you really want to do life with and who you really want to, like, not just like hang out with or be with, but like do business with and life with. That's when you have just amazing freaking awesome friends that are both confident and competent. Like you love your mom, you trust your mom, right? You can trust your mom with your kids, but I wouldn't trust my mom to run my business. So I mean, those are the kind of friends you want that you can really saddle up with and do just amazing, amazing things together. And so I now have my top 25 list. And so I'd encourage everybody to look at your day and find out who your favorite people are in the whole world that you love to be with. And then I would actually audit your time. This week, did I spend time with them? Am I working with them? Am I doing things with them? Are we growing together? Because what I learned too is that if you don't have your own goals, somebody else will use you for theirs.
I like that. Write
So,
that one down. If
yeah,
you don't have your own goals, somebody else will use you for theirs. That's
yeah,
a ka-ching. I need to hire a bell or something.
that's
Grab those.
right. Bing, bing, bing. If you don't have your own goals, someone else will use you for theirs. So sometimes, like you and me, Krista, because I know I was like this, is that me and you we love people. So we'll literally like we love to serve. So a lot of people will throw stuff on your and I's shoulders and be like, "Hey, can you do this for me? Hey, can you do this for me? Hey, can you do this for me?" And then all of a sudden you're like your whole time's chewed up doing stuff for other people, and then they don't even really care. They're just like, "Oh yeah, got it done." So you have to be super careful with that, and that's why I audit my most important thing is like my relationships, and it's are they do they have the law of reciprocity with them. So I think just be super kind, mindful of that, and write down the top 25 people in your life and do more business with them. And I kind of audit it each year. It's like, all right, people come into our life for a reason, a season, and a lifetime. And so you just have to know where they're at in that stage. So do you have any examples of that in your life?
Oh yeah. I've had the same um, friends since I was 15. So when I turned 15, I was in a foster home, and I haven't lived at home since I was 13. I don't know if you know that, but I met these amazing group of girls, and they're still very close to me. We've been at each other weddings. We have babies together. We've raised our kids together, and we're still so close to this day. But what I've had to do is I've had to really learn, and outside of my friend group, because they've gone different. I'm not going to say they're not as successful as I am, but they don't have this. They're a lot of teachers, police officers, that type of thing. And so I haven't really been able to lean on them to help me with my business. So I've had to look outside of those relationships. And what I've done, honestly, is I've paid for them, as much as that might sound bad to some people, but I've, I'm paying to be in a mastermind with you, right? And so I'm paying to be in to be in these relationships, to be around people that are doing amazing things and doing things way better than I am. And I'm developing relationships with people in a different way, which I think I'm proud of it. I think it's a great way, right? But I'm learning that relationships are very important to me. I'm like you. I love people. I always want to help and serve, and I want to be always add value. But it's been like I always say, I don't want any more friends. I've got too many friends. I want to be able to, but it's not true. I want the right ones,
Yeah. Well, and I think there's different levels because I have like my high school friends are still my best friends in the whole world, but we don't see each other all the time. We actually get together once or twice a year, and we totally like it's like we've been friends forever, and we just know. I have other friends like that, and I think like I also try to find ways to serve and to do things for people, but again, out of no obligation because I want to, not because somebody throws it on my plate, right?
Mhm.
So it's a little different that way. But I think as you think about the relationships in your life, it's I want friends that are high, that have high expectations and high love. We talked about that a little bit. Because you have friends too that have high love and zero expectations, right? But
Yeah.
when you're dealing with your business friends and your business leaders, like Dean and Tony, my friend Ethan, like we have high expectations and high love. It's like we're going to push each other to be the very, very best we can be. And you want to get to that level too with your leadership teams and with all of your even with your family. Like me and my wife, we have high expectations and high love. Like we're literally going to push each other to be the best we can. So I think it's important to understand that, and I spend a lot of time on that. Is when you have high expectations and low love, then like culture's off. You're like, just go, do it, get it done. Like you're pushing each other. You're not a great coach. You're like you're demanding stuff, and people can get stuff done, but they don't enjoy it, right? So
Yeah.
you have to be like, how are you? If you have high love and low expectations, then it's like everybody just kind of, then it's like a high love. Oh, he loves me. I'll get to it when I get to it. Like there's no movement. There's no momentum.
Yeah. Like, oh, I think that's probably one of the most dangerous, as well as high expectation, low love. I think high love, low expectation, I think they're equally as dangerous.
Totally.
I really do, because if you have high expectations, low love, you're like a dictator and everybody hates you and they hate their jobs and they're miserable. But if you have high love and low expectation, people just like think they can take advantage, and I think that is an area that I need to work on. After being at our last, I'm like that. Like, I mean, I'm realizing that I have super high love, but I need to have higher expectations, and I don't like to rock the boat, or I don't like to have conflict. I honestly, I do it even in my marriage. Like, I do not like conflict. I don't like, so I have to learn to be stronger in voicing my opinion and my expectation, and like with the high love, and that's after seeing um your training. I was like, oh, I need to work on that. you know.
Yeah, but you teach people how to treat you. And so
You're right.
you teach
100%.
people how to treat you. So you do have to hold accountability, because if you don't, then you can have that high love and then, but high expectations and high love is when you're actually a really good leader and a great coach.
Yeah,
And,
I
you know,
agree.
so I mean, a good example, and I'll share the example of my dad. When I was a young man, my dad said, like I told you at the event, like he said, Randy, I need you home at 11 o'clock. We got to get out and feed the horses, and you've been late a couple nights or whatever, and if you're not home, and we had this huge prom. I was taking an amazing cute girl, and he said, hey, if you're not home at 11 o'clock, you don't get to use the new truck. And I'm like, Dad, dude, this is our junior prom. Like, Dad, I need to do this. He's like, yeah, just be home at 11. Do you agree? I said, yeah, I agree.
Why didn't you negotiate? Like, can we do 12, Dad? You
What's that?
should have negotiated. Dad,
Yeah,
can we do 12?
yeah. And so I'm sitting in the hot tub with my three friends, and in high school, and I'm like, oh my gosh, what time is it? He's like, dude, it's like 11:15. I'm like, oh my gosh, I am gonna get killed. He's gonna kill. He's not gonna let me use the truck. So I'm like racing to our house. I'm like, please be asleep, please be asleep. So I go in, all the lights are off in our house. It's perfect. I'm like, okay. I sneak in quietly in the back door. I sneak in the front room. I go across the hall to my bedroom. I open my bedroom. I'm like, okay, lights are off, everything's good. I go and I pull back my covers, and guess who's in my bed?
There's Dad.
My pops, dude. He is sleeping in my bed. He's sleeping in my bed.
Oh,
And he's like, Randy, what time is it? And I'm like, Dad, it's 11:47. And he said, what time did you commit to me that you would be home? Dad, I told you I'd be home at 11. And he's like, okay. So did I do something to stop you from breaking your commitment? I was like, no. He's like, well, let's say prayers. You don't get to use the truck. But let's say prayers, you can go to bed, and I'll see you in the morning at 5 a.m. We'll go feed the cows. And so I wake up in the morning. I'm like, okay, my dad's going to let me use the truck. Guess what he did? He didn't listen, Krista. He never got mad. And that's the thing that people need to understand. Like when you're holding high expectations, you just need to hold to the standards that you set.
mhm.
And did he let me use the truck? No. He followed through with what he said and what he committed. And so I think sometimes in leadership roles, one of the most important things as a leader, you have to be really good at holding high love and high expectations, holding people those expectations. If you keep letting people just get away with stuff and get away with stuff, then your productivity goes way down.
Totally.
And also, you actually start to treat people how to live. You start to teach them, like, no, I'm not going to put up with that. The best leaders that I know have an amazing leadership and management team. The best leaderships that I know have great management because they're holding their managers to high expectations and high love. And they're like, okay, come report to me. You got to return and report. How are we doing? What can I do to help support you? Was there something I did that had stopped you from reaching our goals? Mediocre people hate high performers, and high performers hate mediocre people. And
True.
you soon find out who
You
should be
get
on your bus or
resentful.
not.
Both ways, you get resentful too.
Yeah.
Hmm.
Yep.
Yeah. This has been so good. I remember you telling that story about your dad. Seems like you had a really good dad, and I can tell he rubbed off on you really, really good.
Oh, Pops is the best. He's amazing. He's a
Yeah,
good
very
dude.
good dad you had. That's so awesome. Like you
Yeah.
can tell he was very instrumental in developing you as an adult because you're very, very similar. And I can't wait. Randy's so sweet. I was like, Randy, can I come fly to you and you can teach me like for a couple hours or a day or whatever? And he's like, come on down, Krista. So I'm going to get to learn more from him about being a good leader. It's funny. A couple years ago, I had was having some problems in my business, and I had to look in the mirror and say, "You are not being a good leader."
Yeah.
I have to say, "You are not leading correctly." So my word for the year was leadership and refinement. So I was like, I'm going to be the best leader. I'm going to make sure everyone loves working with me. And I literally transformed my company by taking a look in the mirror and saying, you're not leading correctly. Like your students love you. Why is it that your people that work with you, they're not as in love? And it was because I wasn't leading correctly.
Yeah.
It's such a huge deal, like leadership, and like everything falls down. It starts with the leader. Everything falls down. Something's not going well. Look at the leaders.
Yeah. 100%. And
Randy, this is so amazing. I want people to follow you. Like, how can they learn more about you? How would you like people to learn more about you? And how can I help people get more Randy Mojo?
yeah, I mean, you can. I'm on Instagram, Facebook, just Randy. Randy. My email is randy@randygarn.com. You can go to Randy Garn on email or Facebook, whatever that may be. But what I love most about you, Krista, is that you're still striving, and you're still wanting to be the best version of yourself. You're trying to be live up to the full measure of what God created you to be, and that's all we can all do. That's high expectations of ourselves and high love, and being like, dude, I just want to be the best version of myself. And so when you get to that self out of self level, that's when you have more joy in your heart. You're more happy. Are we perfect? No. But are we striving? I love that word, striving. Are we striving our very best every day? And that's what I try to ask myself that every day. So yeah, people can follow me that way, but I'm just a huge fan of yours. I'm a huge fan of what you do, how you do it, how you live your life. I'm just so proud of all that you've built.
Aw, thank you. Ditto. I always want to be better. Yeah, it's like that's why I love doing these masterminds and learning from other people. It's like, how can I, when the second you stop trying to grow, you're literally dying. So for me, it's like I'm never going to get to that place that I'm striving for because I'm always striving to do better, just like you. Randy, thank you so much, everyone. So Randy Garn, RandyGarn. He's got millions of followers. Go follow him, and there's a reason for it because he has an amazing network and he treats people around him with respect. So Randy, thank you so much. I always end this one way, Mr. Randy Garn. If you could give one piece of advice, whether it's personal, professional, anything at all, what would that one piece of advice be?
I'm going to give 2 pieces of advice.
Okay.
Do the best. That's it right there. I got the balloons, dude. 2 pieces of advice. I try to do this the best I can. I try to do it every day. I try to love God and I try to love my neighbor. And honestly, if the world would do that more, it would be a lot better place. So that's what I strive to do, is to do those 2 things and do them best that I can.
I don't think I've ever gotten the same advice, which I love. That was such great advice. So thank you for that. So love thy neighbor and love God. And don't let the words get in the way of the message, whoever you call. I believe in God, but some people get all weirded out.
Yeah.
God, universe, higher power. We just full appreciation. Randy, thank you so much. You are amazing. And remember, everyone, knowledge is not power. Implementation of the knowledge that you are learning is where the power comes. And I hope you are just as fired up as I am. Thank you for watching. We appreciate you, and I will see you next time.
Hey, Mashore for life.
Yeah. Thanks so much for watching my video. You can learn more about how to be a successful real estate professional by watching other videos that I have. And be sure to subscribe to my channel. And as always, make it a great home selling and buying day.